Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
You're busy. You expect to say no sometimes. But what you didn't expect was a chance to say yes to a college degree while keeping your life. Indiana Tech is now offering Chicago area students undergraduate and graduate degree opportunities taught online by experienced faculty who care. Learn more at one of the new Indiana Tech enrollment centers in Naperville or Wilmette.
I can turn this in early? Sure, whenever you're ready.
Embrace the unexpected at Indiana Tech.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that there aren't very many energy programs out there. When I researched all of the various programs recently, there are really only 2 or 3 accredited engineering programs.
I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada originally. I came out here to Indiana Tech to actually go for the energy engineering program because of its uniqueness and its ability to get hands-on with the materials that I'm going to be using in the future.
Well, a few of the things I think that sets Indiana Tech apart is, number one, you have very small classes. You have very close relationships with your professors. When you have a class of 10 people, it's much easier to get to know the professor and get in contact with him than if you have a class of 30, 40, or 50. You're going to have the same professors for the majority of your classes. You're going to have the same classmates for the majority of your classes.
The more practical applications come in all the subsequent energy engineering classes. He transfers in a class that right after they're leaving the classroom, and the board is filled with calculus. So in order to understand a lot of these topics, they're going to need to understand the calculus there. Calculus is the study of the rate of change, how fast things change. And depending upon whether it's energy engineering, industrial engineering, or whatever, they're going to need to use that and apply that.
Professor Romary, he stands out to me the most right now because when I first got here, I had to take calculus, Calc 1, Calc 2. And he's one of the professors that teaches it. And he was a very kind and helpful guy, and he did whatever he could to help us out. He was very funny, always had a way of creatively teaching calculus to us that not a whole lot of people can do. And I think that and how he did it is going to be something that's going to stick for me for a very long time.
The field work that Indiana Tech can provide here is, for example, we have a 10 kilowatt windmill that the students can work with. We have a geothermal system for a couple of the buildings for Utangsu and for Zollner that uses geothermal principles to heat and cool the buildings in the summer and the winter.
The PV array system, training system that we have down here in the basement allows us to wire up the panels we have down in the basement to set it up as a off-the-grid system or a battery bank system, which helps us because we can see every component of the system actually intertwining and how they work together, which is something that may not be easily visible when you're on the job site in a career. So definitely my internship at SuperValue Incorporated was a very, very beneficial program for me to be in. It was more based on the process and logistical side of engineering of my degree, not necessarily the design aspect. It helped me really learn how the most efficient way to do a task and some of the boundaries that come with trying to make things more efficient.
One of the things that we've been very fortunate here at Indiana Tech is that we've had a grant through AEP to help subsidize our students in taking some of the various trips in spring break. Over the last 4 years, I have taken, along with a couple of other chaperones, I've taken almost a couple of dozen students to a trip to Germany and Switzerland that focused on renewable energy. We've gone to Iceland last year, focusing on geothermal energy, and we just recently returned from a trip to Costa Rica.
Just last year, I went to Iceland with a couple of our peers, not even just energy engineers, but a couple of other engineering majors went along with us. And for me, that was the highlight of my college time. I mean, we learned a lot about like geothermal systems and how they converted to a country of basically like ran just by geothermal. But it wasn't just learning about that, it was also learning about their culture as well, you know, and the past and the history and where they plan to go in their future. And all those things combined, I think, really kind of defines my experience here in Indiana Tech.
You can be the smartest engineer in the world, but if you cannot talk to or work with other engineers and non-engineers, it's very hard to get anything done. I try to teach my students that while you may not like writing, it's going to be a part of the job. You have to communicate. If you're doing experiments or testing hardware in the lab, you need to write it up so that other people know what you did, and the customer may want to know what are the results of that test.
Something I would remember most about the faculty would be just the one-on-one aspect of it and how open they are to hearing your problems and concerns and willing to assist you. Indiana Tech, with the class sizes being so small, you really get that one-on-one talking, everyday type relationship with your advisors and your professors. And having that is key to success, I feel, because being able to communicate with them and actually get your problems and questions across is going to help clarify things for you while you're in classes in school, which is going to set you up for success.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes. You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior.
Live from downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, as we return to conference action in the NAIA basketball season. A doubleheader from the Schaefer Center here in Fort Wayne today. The number 25 ranked Indiana Tech Warriors women's basketball team playing host to the Rochester Warriors. Tech at 10-3, 7-0 in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. Rochester comes in with a 7-6 overall record, 4-3 in the conference standings. We welcome you to downtown Fort Wayne, the Schaefer Center on the campus of Indiana Tech. Jaron Matheny, happy to be with you for SummitCitySports.com. The Rochester Warriors come in following a Wednesday night loss at home to Siena Heights. 73-41 the final score in that matchup on Wednesday night in Rochester Hills. The Warriors held to 27% shooting from the floor, 24% from long range, and 6 of 13 at the free throw line. The Warriors did have 17 offensive rebounds, but it wasn't enough to overcome a Siena Heights squad that shot 46% from the floor in the victory. Siena Heights also 42% from long range in that win over Rochester the last time out. For Indiana Tech, the last time they hit the floor was on Wednesday as well. Conference play on the road at Michigan Dearborn, an 88-64 win for Tech at Dearborn, as the Warriors shot 56% from the floor and 67% from long range in the win. Indiana Tech scoring 23 points in the first quarter and then 26 points in quarters 2 and 4. A dominant performance by the Tech women's basketball team in order to get the win at Dearborn to keep the conference record 7-0. Still no losses in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference this season for Indiana Tech, as we take a look now at the conference standings here in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. This is coming in to play today. Concordia, by virtue of one more game in the WHAC, is in the top spot in the conference standings with a 9-3 overall record, 8-0 in the conference. Indiana Tech right behind them, 7-0, and then Siena Heights at 6-1. Cornerstone alone in fourth place at 5-2. Rochester's alone in fifth place at 4-3, and then Madonna, Aquinas, and Lourdes all tied for sixth in the WHAC. Lawrence Tech, Cleary, UNOH, and Dearborn round out the conference standings. Lawrence Tech at 3-5. Cleary 1-6, and then Northwestern Ohio and Dearborn are both 0-7 in the WHAC this season. You see there that Concordia is playing host to Cleary here today, so likely that we'll see the Cardinals improve to 9-0 in the conference standings unless we get a big upset there. Cleary is at Concordia, Madonna at Lourdes, Aquinas at Dearborn, Cornerstone at Siena Heights, and UNOH is at Lawrence Tech. That's the conference schedule for today. Some other big games outside the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. We'll keep our eye on St. Francis at Indiana Wesleyan. And then later today, 4 p.m. start time for women's basketball, Carroll College at Providence. That's a big-time matchup in the Frontier Conference, and a team that Indiana Tech has seen both of those teams so far this season. But Concordia at the top of the table, 8-0 in the WHAC, and then right behind Indiana Tech with a 7-0 conference record, looking to go to 8-0 in the conference this season with a win today over Rochester. Again, the Warriors come in at 7-6 on the year, 4-3 in the conference, 10-3 for Indiana Tech so far this season. The starters we'll get to momentarily after we take a pause for the national anthem. But first, let's dive in to the deeper numbers for Rochester. The Warriors and head coach Jared Ocampo in his first season at the helm. The tournament champions from a year ago for Rochester, and Ocampo spent 2 seasons as an assistant at Rochester before getting the head job. He also played college basketball in the Philippines. The Warriors are led by J.C. Summers, 13.9 points per game for Summers. She also leads the team in three-point field goal percentage, 44% on the year, and then at the free throw line as well, 84% at the charity stripe this season for Summers. Celeste Mershimer leads Rochester in assists per game with more than 4.5 assists per contest. And Melanie Moore, the starting forward/center, 7.8 rebounds per game. Moore out of Warren, Michigan, also leads the Warriors in terms of field goal percentage this year at 49% on the season. You turn to the bench. Caitlin Williams had a big night the last time out. The freshman playing in her first game of the year against Siena Heights. Riley Place, Shahad Bakar, Dakota Crone, and Laya Albus all make up that bench rotation for head coach Ocampo and Rochester. The Indiana Tech Warriors are led in scoring by Erica Foy this season. The grad student Foy at 5'11" from Gas City, 16.6 points per game, 8 rebounds a contest, and she's shooting 85% at the charity stripe this season. Genevieve Decker leads Indiana Tech in terms of field goal percentage this year. She's shooting 56% from the floor on the season. And Erica Foy from long range has been deadly as well this year. She's been able to do pretty much whatever she's wanted on the floor this season. But Foy, 62% from beyond the arc on the year. Juliana Burris is also in double figures, 10.2 points per contest for Burris this season. As we get set for the national anthem here inside the Schaefer Center, downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana. We'll step aside, take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your starting lineups for both Rochester and Indiana Tech. You're tuned in to Tech women's basketball and a doubleheader against Rochester as the conference season rolls on here at the Schaefer Center today. We'll step aside for the national anthem and come back with Tech women's hoops after this break. SummitCitySports.com. Don't go anywhere.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior.
I think it's really important for freshmen to realize you get out of college what you put into it. If you dedicate yourself to your classes and to your projects and to what you're doing in college, you're going to have a really great experience here.
I wish someone would have told me my freshman year that it's important to prioritize, knowing what's important, what's not important, knowing what I need to do opposed to what I want to do.
The two things that I think all freshmen should know is buy a parking permit so you don't rack up a bunch of fines and tickets, and also make sure you go to class, because it seems like a good idea when you're skipping, but then it's not worth it in the end when you fail the test or don't turn in homework.
As an international student, my advice for the freshmen is to not be afraid to make friends, because your friends here will end up being your family away from home.
Anything that you want to do, anything that you want to put on, anything that you want to showcase on campus, you can. There's always people around to help you do what you want to do here.
Make sure that you always take time for yourself to make sure that you're okay, because college can be very overwhelming as far as like schoolwork and friends and sports and just like everyday life. Always just make sure that you get what you need to get done.
It's important to have a relationship with your professors because you become more personable with them. You start to engage in the material more. They can give you recommendations, especially once you get out of college. You definitely want to put them down as like references. And if you have a better personal relationship, it just makes the whole learning experience go smoothly.
Getting ready for the first game of our doubleheader here in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference today from the Schaefer Center in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jaron Matheny, glad you are with us as we get set for the starting lineups. And we've got the Warriors versus the Warriors today, so we'll do our best to keep that sorted out on both sides. Here are the starters for Rochester. Rochester starting five looks like this. The freshman guard, number 1, J.C. Summers. A senior guard, number 3, Celeste Mershimer. Ashley Loon is a sophomore guard wearing number 15. Number 20, Amari Martin, the junior guard. And then Melanie Moore, a sophomore forward for Rochester, rounds out the starting five. For the Rochester Warriors, 7-6 on the season, 4-3 in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. Head coach Jared Ocampo in his first season at the helm for Rochester. Now a look at the lineup for the Indiana Tech Warriors. Number 25 in the latest poll. Senior guard Juliana Burris wears number 0. Starting at forward, a junior, number 2, Genevieve Decker. A sophomore guard wearing number 3 and standing at 5'7" is Taylor Covington. Erica Foy is the grad student and forward, standing just under 6 foot. Number 11, Erica Foy, and the number 31, Corinne Smith, the junior guard in Corinne Smith out of Waterford, Michigan. 6.2 points per game this season for Corinne Smith, under the tutelage of head coach Jessie Biggs in her 12th season with the Warriors. Indiana Tech, 10 wins already this season. They've won 20 games at least every year since the 2015-16 season. For SummitCitySports.com, Jared Matheny, happy you're with us. It's Genevieve Decker and J.C. Summers standing at center court. Doubleheader between the Warriors today. Rochester and Indiana Tech. We are underway from the Schaefer Center. And immediately to the inside, Juliana Burris with 2 points. And Tech strikes first. See a little bit of full court pressure from Indiana Tech as well. The Warriors have done a great job this season of taking care of business of the teams in front of them, especially outside the top 25. In fact, the Warriors to date have not lost a game to a team that's not in the top 25 currently. Moore kicks it out. Loon on the 3-ball and good. Ashley Loon connects from long range, and it's Rochester on top, now 3-2. Last February, here in Fort Wayne, Rochester defeating Indiana Tech by 3 points. After Rochester outscored Tech by 8 in the final quarter. Smith gives up for Burris, shot clock at 5. Burris on the runner, no good, and Moore on the glass with a defensive rebound. See if Rochester can push the pace a little bit. Corner triple for Summers. Got partially blocked on the way up. Loose ball underneath and thrown up and good by Mershimer, who's got her first bucket. trying to settle in on the offensive end for Indiana Tech. Really lively inside the Schaefer Center. Lots of noise from the Rochester bench so far as Foy with a 15-foot jump shot sinks it. And Erica Foy is into the score sheet on that jumper. 5-4, Rochester leading early. Mershimer about 4.5 assists per game. Summers works the ball towards the left wing. Mari Martin lifts, too strong. Covington on the glass. Taylor Covington throwing it up the floor for Foy, looking to kick out. Now Foy attacks, left-handed lay-in off glass and good for 2. And Tech regains the lead here in this Battle of the Warriors in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. Conference game number 8 of the season for both Tech and Rochester. Loon, straightaway three-pointer. This one's just a hair off to the left. Decker rebound. Warriors on the Indiana Tech side, not wasting any time getting the ball down the floor, trying to set up offensively. Work it all the way around the arc to the left corner. Smith gives up high for Covington. Foy against Martin, fades away, rolled off, but Decker grabs the offensive rebound. 3 minutes gone in the opening quarter. Good ball movement. Foy, jump shot, just trickled out. Now Rochester moving quickly. Got the size advantage, at least in terms of on paper, does Rochester here in the starting 5 today. Martin gets the contacts, and Amari Martin, a junior from Westerville, Ohio, is headed to the free throw line for the first time. Covington picks up her first personal, and that's the first team foul of the quarter as well. Martin with 2 free throws upcoming. Hits the first. Amari Martin, a 71% free throw shooter this year. 7 points, 3 assists in that loss to Siena Heights on Wednesday. Martin goes 2 for 2. Rochester regains the lead. Tech basketball, zone moving side to side for Rochester as Covington nearly lost it. Gets it back off the touch from Burris. 3 ball, too strong, and then a foul on Genevieve Decker as she tried to go for the offensive rebound. It's the second team foul. And Bethany Worm comes in for the first time. So 7-6, Rochester leading Indiana Tech, coming up on 6:15 to play in the first quarter. This is a doubleheader here today. We'll have the men's game following. Offensive foul on a moving screen and a turnover by Rochester. Loon's first personal, team foul number 1 as well. Bethany Worm onto the floor. She's also out of Westerville, Ohio. Screen set. Burris left wing, back up top for Covington. Worm's first touch on the offensive side. Shot clock towards 10. Foy kicks out. Covington for 3 off the front of the iron. And Burris saved it, but to Mershimer. Mershimer attacking Covington. Now it's Martin driving in, fouled. Won't get the bucket, but that's the first on Erica Foy. And now 3 team fouls here against Indiana Tech in the opening 4.5 minutes. Emerus Lowry is on for Juliana Burris. A sub coming in as well for Rochester. Dakota Crone in for the Warriors. Martin at the free throw line. 2 more attempts coming. And drops in the first. Mari Martin, all 3 points coming from the charity stripe here early. And Martin, 2 for 2, 4 for 4 in total. Rochester still with just a possession advantage in this opening 5 minutes of action coming up on our first media timeout. Smith to tie. Too strong. Mershimer on the rebound. And another offensive foul on a moving screen, this time against Melanie Moore. Moore's first, as Kaylin Williams now on for Rochester. First game of the year the last time out against Siena Heights, and Williams looks to be somebody they'll throw in the lineup quite frequently down the stretch run of the conference season. Lowry, good pass to the inside. Foy double teamed, has to back it out. Covington. Got to look to skip pass here. Worm in the middle, out for Corinne Smith. Triple is good, and we're tied up at 9. So Smith hits the 3 off the assist from Worm. Summers trying to respond and too strong. Thrown up ahead, Summers takes it away. So Worm hit the deck, numbers the other way for Rochester. Mershimer missed it. It's out of bounds, and that should take us to our first media timeout. 4:26 to play, opening quarter, 9-9. Rochester and Indiana Tech tied up here in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference.
Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes.
Good luck, Tammy.
See you, David.
Things happen. How do you make the unexpected happen? Take the next step with an online degree from Indiana Tech. Start with a visit to one of our 2 new Chicago area enrollment centers in Naperville or Wilmette. You'll discover a wide range of affordable undergraduate and graduate degrees with flexible class schedules designed to fit your lifestyle and help you earn a degree sooner than you'd expect. Embrace the unexpected at Indiana Tech.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior.
9-9, 4:26 first quarter. Rochester and Indiana Tech tied up here in women's basketball from the Schaefer Center, downtown Fort Wayne. Jerry Matheny, glad you're with us. Matt Jackson's running our camera here today as well. Appreciate him being here and ready to go as we're into the second semester. And conference games across the board. We'll get some scores at halftime. Zone moving side to side. Smith off the touch from Worm, just rolled out. Well, good defense from Rochester early on, and we've got ourselves a ball game here in the first 6 minutes of the opening quarter. Williams in the weave up top as Martin hands back. Loon gives up right for Mershimer. Midway through the shot clock. Loon back out up high for Martin. And the drive nearly lost it. Williams collects and then traveled. Substitution, Genevieve Decker back on for Indiana Tech as Erica Foy catch a breather. Decker, Covington, Smith, Worm, and Lowry. Now the 5 on the floor for Indiana Tech. Warriors averaging 66 points per game, giving up 59 a contest. Lowry corner triple, too strong. Rochester playing in that 71 points per game range, allowing 68 a contest. There's a charge as Worm stands tall against Amari Martin, barreling it downhill. And the foul on Martin is her first third-team foul against Rochester here in the opening quarter. Both teams with 3 team fouls currently. Shahad Bakar is on for the first time. Lowry for Worm. They tried to go in for Decker, and it's turned over. Maybe one pass too many that time for Tech. Crone forced one up, and there's another charge as Bethany Worm has put her body on the line twice already. 2 offensive fouls, and in fact, all the fouls on Rochester right now are offensive. A pair of moving screens, a pair of charges, 4th team foul against the Warriors in this opening 7-minute stretch. 2:55 first quarter. The next foul against Rochester will put Tech into the bonus. Covington, right side opened up into the middle for Worm. Burris, extra pass. Lowry slings it inside. Decker, good find. Worm, jump shot, no. Decker, offensive rebound, and she's fouled on the putback. Junior Genevieve Decker, 56% from the floor this season. Tops on the Tech roster. Shooting 2 free throws. Sinks the first to give the Tech the advantage. 10-9. Tech on top. Warriors leading by 2 after Decker made both free throws. She's 57% at the line this season. Mershimer from deep, and that kicked off the iron. Quickly up the floor. Burris drives in. That lay-in didn't fall for her, though. 2:05 first quarter. Mershimer kicking back left. This is Bakar on the drive, and Bakar is fouled. And if that's on Covington, that's her second. So Corinne Smith returning to the lineup for Tech. Bakar with 2 free throws. Two for 2. We're tied up. 11 apiece as we come up on the 2-minute mark of this first quarter. (11-11) on the scoreboard. Ball worked around the arc, back to the left side for Martin. More attacks, plus the foul. Foul is charged to Worm, her first. Foy coming back in for Tech. The free throws missed. 1.5 first quarter. Lowry corner 3. It's off the heel. Loose ball, and Decker with another offensive rebound. Continue to work the ball around the arc nicely. Foy on a head fake. Gets inside a 10 and makes it. So Erica Foy ties us up at 13. Final minute of this opening quarter. Jump shot from Martin is pure. So 41 points the last time out, but this offense finding a groove here on the road at Tech tonight. And today, I should say. 45 seconds first quarter. Foy for Burris, left wing triple. And that one hit the shot clock as it came back down. Bakar back to the bench as Mershimer returns. Got our clock back up and running. Apologize for that. And a brief mishap there. Summers to Martin. She drives again, threw up a wild shot, and it hit the shot clock. Martin trying to draw the foul there is what it looked like for Rochester. 15-13. Shot clock is dark. Warriors looking for the final shot of this first quarter. Foy. Back to Burris at the horn. Yes! Juliana Burris knocks in the three to end the opening quarter. Indiana Tech 16, Rochester 15. Second quarter of action comes your way after this break. SummitCitySports.com.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
A three for Juliana Burris at the end of the opening quarter gives Indiana Tech a 1-point lead over Rochester. Here's a look back at that last shot. Burris just off the left wing connects on the three. And that's how the first quarter came to a close. Second quarter, and Rochester basketball to begin our second quarter here inside the Schaefer Center, SummitCitySports.com. Jaron Matheny, glad you are with us here today. 2 games on this Saturday afternoon in downtown Fort Wayne. Riley Place is out there for the first time for Rochester in this game as Mershimer lost it, stepped out of bounds and made contact. It's a turnover against Rochester in the opening possession of quarter 2. Burris, Decker, Foy, Lowry, and Smith, the 5 out there for Indiana Tech. Pass deflected there by Summers. Mershimer pushes up ahead. Summers attacking. Nearly lost her pivot foot as she went up and missed that lay-in. A 1-point advantage for Indiana Tech. Smith gave up that 3 attempt for Burris to the right. Continue to work around the arc, but this zone defense slides in and out so nicely for Rochester. Not a lot of breathing room on the offensive end. And there's a turnover. Looks like a 2-1-2 zone for the most part. A person in the middle of the 2-1-2 has been tasked with sliding from one wing to another, trying to create those double teams. 1 minute off the clock here in quarter 2. 1-point lead for Indiana Tech. Both teams scoreless to start this second quarter. Martin, pull-up jump shot, and kicked off the iron out. Martin leading Rochester with 6 points currently. Burris, good extra pass. Decker skips for Worm. Now Smith, open look from 3, and Corinne Smith makes it count. Smith has hit a couple of triples. Indiana Tech's lead grows to 4. Place gives up for Summers. Now Mershimer gets the screen from Summers right. Out up high to Moore. Place, gonna chuck. Didn't get the friendly bounce off the rim like on the other side, or off the glass. Burris for Worm. And now Foy. Inside of 8 minutes until the halftime break. Good cut from Bethany Worm. Missed the shot. Got her own rebound. And then Mershimer comes out of the pile after the second miss. Place. Catch and shoot. And good. Sink it for Riley Place. 40% from downtown this season. Tech basketball. Foy, catch and shoot. Good release from 15 out. Erica Foy. She hits the three ball well, but her range, 12 to 18 feet. She's pretty unbeatable when it comes to that distance. Martin on the drive, rejected by Corinne Smith. Subs in for Rochester. Crone, Williams, and Loon all return. Martin high on the inbound. Williams has to go track it down. Mershimer backing things out. 13.5 points per game for Celeste Mershimer this year. Spinning inside, lost the basketball, and Burris has it. Numbers for Indiana Tech up the floor. Too hot to handle that pass from Burris. It's out of bounds. Transition opportunity goes by the wayside on that trip for Indiana Tech. Approaching 6.5 minutes to go, second quarter. Opening game of a conference doubleheader today from Fort Wayne. Mershimer just inside the arc, and it's out. Worm back to Smith. Good find. The foul will send Corinne Smith to the charity stripe for 2 attempts. Erica Foy, 8 points. Corinne Smith with 6. Juliana Burris has 5. Smith, 2 free throws coming. Too strong on that first. Corinne's been really good at the free throw line this season. 86% on the year. Played in all 33 games a season ago, but did not make a start. She started every game this year. 7 points now for Corinne Smith. 4-point advantage, Indiana Tech. But Rochester's come to play on the road today. Trying to shake off that loss to Siena Heights at home. There's a turnover, which is a big cause for concern for Rochester. Up the floor to Foy, who gets it to go. And a timeout for Rochester. 6 minutes to play, second quarter. 24-18, Indiana Tech on top. We'll take the media timeout with this. We're back right after this. SummitCitySports.com.
Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, Warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
(24-18), Indiana Tech leading Rochester as we've got 6 minutes exactly left in this first half of play. Jaron Matheny for SummitCitySports.com. Happy you are with us on this Saturday afternoon. Erica Foy leading all scorers with 10 points for Indiana Tech. Rochester led by Amari Martin. She's got 6 points, including a perfect 4 for 4 at the free throw line. 6 points, the deficit currently for Rochester. Well, head fake, Crone, nearly stripped free by Smith, filtered back out, and now Mershimer gets a touch left to Martin. Out up high, open look, Crone for 3, can't hit, loose ball foul, and it's going to go against Indiana Tech. Corinne Smith tagged with personal foul number 1. Team foul number 1 as well. It's Amaris Lowry to check in. Smith's going to come off. Mershimer, baseline drive, good defense from Burris, but out for a Loon 3, too strong. Ball on the floor, Lowry after it, jump ball, and Indiana Tech has the possession arrow. It'll be a fresh 30 seconds on the shot clock here at the change of possession. Nearing the midway point of the first half, quarter 2, Lowry 3 around the toilet bowl and pops out. Low scoring second quarter so far. Martin for Crone. Now Mershimer. A lot of jerseys in the area, pretty congested right now inside the lane. Martin in the paint, turns, too strong, and Worm is there for the rebound. Foy into the corner, extra pass, Burris catch and shoot. Not this time, offensive rebound. Ten to shoot, Lowry. Decker gives up, Foy from long range. There's another for Erica Foy. She's now got 13 points for Indiana Tech. Nine points is the largest lead for number 25 so far. Another missed triple. Burris pushing the pace. It's Decker on the downhill drive. Missed the lay-in. Foy put back, and she's fouled. Here's the 3 on the last possession. As Decker gave up left, 2 open to leave the top scorer for Indiana Tech there. Well, 10 points, the largest lead for Indiana Tech here today. And Foy now with 15 of the 29 first half points for Indiana Tech. Bakar on the handoff, Mershimer to Summers. Trying to move the ball back towards the left wing. Bakar has it there now. Inside at 10 on the shot clock. Bakar lost it, and it was taken away by Corinne Smith as she tried to tap it back in. Foy dribbles out, coming up on 3:15 second quarter. Burris. Back to Smith. Zone moving side to side for Rochester. Foy with a skip pass. Bethany Worm 3. Yes! Largest lead for Tech in the first half. 32-18. Jump shot, Mershimer, no. Rochester has scored just 3 points, 1 field goal in this second quarter. Worm dumping in for Foy. There's another. 18-3. Indiana Tech outscoring Rochester here in quarter 2. And Erica Foy has been dominant. She's got half the points for Indiana Tech. Summers trying to answer. Still can't buy a bucket right now for Rochester. Ball on the floor. Crone. It's the jump ball, and it's Rochester possession. Officials discussing. Heard Coach Ocampo calling for a timeout. We also saw Crone spin. It should be Rochester basketball with the arrow. And Decker coming in. Place and Martin back on the floor for Rochester. Final 2 minutes of the second quarter. And a reach-in foul on Lowry. And team foul number 2 against Indiana Tech. Bakar high on this inbound. Martin still chasing after it. It's picked up by Lowry, and then she's bumped into. Just a couple of possessions for Rochester. Only 6 turnovers by Tech in this first half. That was turnover number 5 for Rochester, but it feels like in this second quarter, it's been a lot more of those turnovers than we saw in the first. And of course, the scoring, something to write about as well. 5:45 without a bucket for Rochester. Nearly 6 minutes of game time. And it's a 15-0 run for Tech in that span. Foy into the corner. Smith, another 3. It's good. Corinne Smith into double figures. Foy the assist, 1.5 to go. Just 3 points in this quarter for Rochester. Mershimer back for Summers. Shot clock at 5. Summers, beautiful spin cycle, but missed the lay-in. Can't buy a bucket right now for the Warriors in black. 1 of 14 from the field in this quarter for Rochester. 7 of 12 for Indiana Tech. Summers nearly got the turnover, and in fact, she did. Corinne Smith, Erica Foy have combined for 27 of the 37 first half points. Potential 2-for-1 opportunity for Rochester. They just want a bucket right here. Two for one going to be wiped away. Moore looked to Martin. It was deflected out of bounds by Smith. 8 to shoot. Deflected pass taken away by Foy, and they want one shot. You see both Coach Biggs with the one finger in the air. As soon as they got that turnover, they're on top of things. And a chance to extend this lead to 21 points, maybe 22, and it would be the largest lead of the first half. 18-0 run currently. Lowry from the corner. Gets it to go. A 22-point halftime lead for Indiana Tech. Warriors leading Rochester at the break, 40-18, 24-3. Indiana Tech outscores Rochester in the second quarter of play, and a dominant second quarter for the number 25 team in the country. Indiana Tech leading Rochester 40-18 at the halftime break. Let's now take a tour around the Tech campus.
Hi, I'm Paxton, and I'll be your tour guide today. Behind me, we have Pearson Hall. This is one of our freshman dorms on campus. Today, I'll be showing you dorm rooms. Come inside. The only way to get into campus is if you have an ID card, so you'll have to swipe into all the dorms. And then over here, we have an intercom system. So through every dorm, we have these dial buttons within the dorm rooms and then outside. So say you're visiting somebody, you don't live here, you would dial their room number, and then you can actually call their room, and they can unlock the doors to the dorm through the intercom system, and you can talk to them. They can see you through a camera, and they can unlock the doors for you so they don't have to leave the room. It's really nice to have. So right here we just have our main lobby. Every floor has a lobby. In the lobbies we just have TVs and stuff. You can watch movies, play video games. You can hang out with friends, do homework, play card games. It's just a nice little hangout area to have. And then right here, this is what we call our RA office. So every single night there will be an RA in the office. They're just there for your needs if you have any issues with toilets or sinks or anything being clogged. They'll always be in there for your help. If you have questions about anything, you can always come see an RA here. And then over here, we have mailboxes. Every student has a mailbox. They are really small. The only thing they can fit is card-sized items. Throughout campus, you'll see our mail room when you go on your actual tour later on, and that will be in one of our other buildings where you'll receive bigger packages. All right, so here's the laundry room. So in the laundry room, you don't have to save quarters or use quarters. I know it says 25 cents, but it is included with living on campus. And then there's one on every floor and every side of the floor, so there's 2 on every floor in Pearson. So every student has keys to their dorm. And then as you come in, you will see our intercom system right here that I talked about in the entranceway. So this is where you would unlock the door for visitors, talk to them. And then one really nice thing about it is there is a security guard button right there. So if you were to have somebody calling your room constantly at 5 o'clock in the morning because some student forgot their keys, you could actually press the security guard button and it will lock them in that little box that we entered into the dorm. It'll lock both the outside doors and the inside doors and call security. So it also has a nice safety measure within your room. You don't even have to leave your room for that. So it's really nice. And then as we enter in this way, you'll see this is the half of our room looks like. So there's this, and then on the other side of the suite, there's a mirrored room that looks exactly like this. The desk, the dressers, and the closets, and all of the drawers and stuff all come with. You can decorate it any way you'd like, and then mini fridges, TVs, anything like that you would bring here. And then through here we have our bathroom. So then as we come into the bathroom, you'll see that this side of the room has their own sink and toilet, and then as you come through, there's one shower shared between the 2 rooms, and then this side of the room has their own sink and toilet, and then there's the mirrored room right here. So then they share a little common space out there, and then this is the exact same stuff, and it's all the same. Here we have Calflush. This is our other freshman dorm on campus. It is across the street from main campus. We'll be showing another freshman dorm, the laundry room, and then the hangout lobby area. Come on in. So same thing as Pearson. To get into the dorms, you have to have a swipe card that unlocks and lets you in. All right, and then we have the same intercom system as we do in Pearson, and it runs throughout all of the dorms. And then in here is the lobby area where all the students hang out. We have a TV so people can hook up Xboxes or anything like that, DVD players, you can watch movies. I know RAs put on a bunch of activities down here. They do movie nights with hot chocolate during the winter. We've done pumpkin carving, and we watch a Halloween movie, and so that's all done down here.
And then it's the same thing over here. You can do some studying, you can hang out with friends, you can eat dinner if you want. And like I said, you can hang out with your RA, hang out with your friends, do homework, but follow me to the next part. So same thing as Pearson, every student has keys to their dorm. So when you first walk in, it's different than Pearson where there's no like 2 mirrored room. It's just one room with 2 students. The shelves, the desk, the drawers, all of the beds and stuff all come with. And then over here, it's the same for Pearson and Calbflesh. You can control the air condition and the heat for the room, not the entire dorm, which is so nice because then it's between you and your roommate, not through hundreds of people in one building. And then as we walk over here, you'll see that the sink is outside of the bathroom, which is so nice because obviously if your roommate's showering, you don't have to worry about not being able to brush your teeth or even use the sink or get a drink of water or anything like that. And then as we walk over here, you'll see only 2 roommates to 1 bathroom. And then the shelving space. And then instead of Pearson where they have closets, you would have this whole shelving space and hanger area. And then same thing as Pearson, we have the intercom system over here where you can press the security guard button, you can talk to them, and then see them through the camera. Calbflesh also has mailboxes. They're the same size. They fit card-sized items. And again, if you have any bigger packages, we do have a mailroom on campus. So then through here, this is the laundry room. The difference between Pearson and Calbflesh is Calbflesh, there's only 1 in the whole building and it's on the first floor, whereas Pearson has them on every floor. But it is the same as they are included with living here, so you don't have to use quarters. It's free to the students. And that concludes the tour. Thanks for coming with. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to your counselor. Hope to see you around campus. Go Warriors!
Halftime break here in Fort Wayne at the Schaefer Center in downtown. Number 25, Indiana Tech leading Rochester 40-18 at the end of our first half. Well, it was a highly contested and really close first quarter of play between these two sides. After one, Indiana Tech led 16-15, but the second quarter belonged to the Warriors, who were wearing gray. We welcome you back to the Schaefer Center here in downtown Fort Wayne. Apologize for some technical difficulties here. Halftime score, number 25, Indiana Tech 40, Rochester 18. As we look at those first half stats, Indiana Tech with a 21-0 run over the last 7 minutes and 39 seconds of play in quarter number 2. But going back to the first quarter, Tech on a 29-7 run in the last 12 minutes of game time. The Indiana Tech Warriors have made 4 out of their last 5 three-point field goals. Erica Foy has made 5 out of her last 6 shot attempts. And Rochester scoreless in the final 7 minutes and 39 seconds of that opening half of action. Amari Martin with 6 points leads the scoring for Rochester as the Warriors go 5 of 26 from the floor in the first half for 19% total. 2 of 11 from long range, 6 of 7 at the free throw line. For Indiana Tech, led by Erica Foy, 17 first half points for Foy, 10 for Smith. And then Burris with 5, 3 points for Lowry and Worm, and Genevieve Decker with 2 points as well. A little bit of foul trouble for Indiana Tech. Taylor Covington, 2 personal fouls. She went 0 for 2 from the floor in the first half. Covington played just 8 minutes in that first half of action as Celeste Mershimer led Rochester in terms of minutes on the floor. 19 minutes in that first half for Mershimer, who had 2 points. Loon and Place each with 3, as Rochester puts up just 18 points in the first half, just 3 in quarter number 2, and it's Indiana Tech in front of Rochester 40-18 at the halftime break. We'll step aside, take about a 4-minute pause, and come back with second half action after this. You're tuned in to Tech Women's Basketball here on SummitCitySports.com.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
I decided if I was going to come to Indiana Tech, I was going to be a different kind of instructor. I was really going to focus on connecting with students, teaching the students the theory that they needed, and also the practical applications.
Very practically, what that looks like is smaller class sizes. So my class sizes are the 8 to 10 up to maybe 20. And that's backed up with, we have 18 hours of office hours every week. I'm sitting in my office waiting for students to come in to talk about anything. It doesn't just have to be with the classroom.
In the College of Engineering, we have ABET accreditation for mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and biomedical engineering. ABET is the top accrediting board for engineering in the United States and probably in the world.
Another thing that is a very different approach at Indiana Tech, I think, that some other universities, is we try and make sure they have a lot of lab experience in the engineering department. All engineering programs are going to have laboratory courses, but in our laboratory courses we try to get them not just exposure to measurements and exposure to some of the devices that you'll be used, but I like to actually assign projects that are, realistic projects.
Those projects, this project-based learning, help students to work together in a group and be hands-on with their the material or the product that they're creating. Engineering students at Indiana Tech are, to me, stand out because I know that they've had a lot of experiences working in groups, working on projects, doing lab experiments to help them understand the material, and I think that prepares them well for industry.
First thing I'll tell a high school student is study, study, study. Get all the math you can possibly get. I honestly believe that the critical thinking skills you learn in math courses will help you with engineering courses.
The type of knowledge base that students should have coming in, they need to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Those two things are really the essence of engineering. Regardless of flavor, they're going to need to figure out, there's a problem here, how do I solve it? And they need to think critically about that. They need to observe, listen to people, and then kick in those problem-solving skills to solve the problem.
Part of the growth of Indiana Tech has involved an increasing number of international students. So I think if we can expose students to different ideas, different cultures, again, it makes them that much more competitive in the marketplace.
In the Fort Wayne area, we have lots of large companies, BAE Systems, Fort Wayne Metals, General Motors, Raytheon, Harris Corporation, and the list goes on. We have a lot of employers that want our engineering students.
Indiana Tech, I think, continues to serve students even beyond their graduation. We really strive to keep in touch with our alumni on a personal level just to see how they're doing, but then also they want to give back to the university because of the experiences they've had here, so they want to provide opportunities for other students here as well.
Getting ready to start our second half of action, live from the Schaefer Center here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jaron Matheny, happy you are with us. We are a minute away from the start of the second half for SummitCitySports.com. Glad to be with you. Big thanks to Matt Jackson, who is running our camera here today as well. That countdown timer you're seeing now is to start the second half currently. As we check out some scores across the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference for today. These are going to be halftime scores in games getting into the third quarter currently. Lawrence Tech leading Northwestern Ohio 30-20. Concordia, the top team in the conference at 8-0, is leading Cleary 41-17 at the break. Aquinas on top of Dearborn 35-28. That is a halftime score as well. Other games we're taking a closer look at. Marion at Huntington today, 41-23. Marion on top. St. Francis trails Indiana Wesleyan by just 6 points as the third quarter is underway there. And Taylor currently with a lead on Spring Arbor at half, 45-34. 39. It's 40-18 here. Second half is underway. Starting 5 on the floor for both teams to begin our second half of action. Decker on the baseline drive, and Genevieve Decker with a bucket. Third quarter off and running, and it's a 23-0 run for Indiana Tech, dating back to the last Rochester bucket, which was more than 8 minutes of game time ago. Mershimer back to Summers. Loon, deep look, and that's off. But a putback for Moore. She's fouled, and Melanie Moore headed to the charity stripe for 2 attempts. Get ready for our second game after this one. Rochester 11-2, Tech 8-5. Both teams 6-1 in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. First free throw is off for Melanie Moore. Sophomore from Warren, Michigan, 56% at the line this season. 5 points, 9 rebounds against Siena Heights the last time out. And she goes 1 for 2. And again, yeah, Siena Heights, number 3 in the conference standings currently with just 1 loss. Concordia, Indiana Tech, unbeaten. Looks like it'll stay that way, barring any big second half comebacks. And 1 for Genevieve Decker off the assist from Covington. And it's all Indiana Tech Warriors right now here on the home floor. Mershimer's second personal. Free throw good for Decker. Make it 45-19. We'll be live on our YouTube channel again for Tech men's basketball against Rochester after this. And there's the first field goal in a long time for Rochester. Martin good. Other way, Decker finishes through contact. Didn't get the whistle, but it didn't matter. Genevieve Decker off and flying in this third quarter. Mershimer spinning and got to her spot, lays it in. Tech trying to push it up and down the floor quickly here. Foy slings it in. Decker fouled again. And Genevieve Decker on the offensive end to start this second half has been all over the place. Foul on Loon is her third. 2 free throws for Genevieve Decker as Crone comes in for Rochester. Decker hits the first free throw. She's now got 10 points. 3 of 4 from the floor, 4 of 4 at the line. Tied with Erica Foy for a team-high 6 rebounds currently. And she's the 3rd player in double figures for Indiana Tech so far today. Rochester will be at Cornerstone on Wednesday. Back home next Saturday as Mershimer gets it to go. Indiana Tech back home Wednesday night against Northwestern Ohio, and then they'll hit the road for back-to-back road games. Covington, patient on the offensive side. Decker out for Burris, extra touch. Smith for 3, not this time, and Decker bats it out. Covington the triple. Burris going after the loose ball on the glass. It's knocked out of bounds, but Coach Biggs likes the effort from her side. Those are the little things. You're up by 24, third quarter. You could put it in neutral a little bit. No, still attacking on the offensive glass. 3 ball for Mershimer, short. Decker with a rebound, quick handoff to Covington. Numbers for Tech up ahead. Covington to Burris for 2. 51-25. This is the largest lead for Indiana Tech. Inside for Moore, pass deflected by Foy. Now dribbling in, Crone hit the shot clock.
Number 24, Laya Albus checks in for Rochester.
"26 points the advantage. Covington for Decker. She gets it back. Spins it up high. Zone continues to move side to side for Rochester. Burris with a skip pass. Covington off for Foy. Jumper good. And it's all Indiana Tech now here in the third quarter. Laya Albus is out there for the first time for Rochester, wearing 24. Mershimer taken away by Covington. It's one-on-one with Albus the other way. Covington to the rack, +1. First bucket for Taylor Covington. Now 15 points in this third quarter already. Just 4 minutes off the clock, and whatever Coach Biggs said at halftime has resonated with this starting five on the floor, because they've come out hungry in this third quarter to put this game away. It's exactly what you needed to see. Covington, 75% at the line this season. Hits the and one. A little bit of pressure coming up the floor with Covington guarding Martin. You just don't take your foot off the gas pedal, especially when we're in a third quarter. Martin travels. She tries to attack downhill. Turned over. Indiana Tech basketball. 5:50 third quarter. And this game is all about the orange and black, or orange and gray and black today. Covington travels as she tried to save it near the baseline. Got put in a tough position to catch that ball. And checking on the scores around the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference and some other area games. Northwestern Ohio trailing Lawrence Tech on the road by 15. Concordia leads Cleary by almost 30. And Aquinas up 10 on Dearborn. Mershimer back out up high. Albus to Martin. 10 on the shot clock. Martin dribbles and got the foul call on the runner. Looking for a Madonna and Lord score. Not seeing one currently. Cornerstone, Siena Heights, the only other conference games scheduled. Martin hits the first free throw. Free throws off, 30-point game. Madonna and Lords playing last night on the women's side of things. Madonna winning 79-62. Loose ball out of bounds. Rochester possession. 5:07 third quarter. Siena Heights and Cornerstone not playing until 5 o'clock today. So that's why we've got some scores in different places. 4 games in total, including this one starting at 1 o'clock. Mershimer, and she's calling for the travel. Picked up that pivot foot. That takes us to our media timeout. Midway through the third quarter, it's all Indiana Tech. Number 25 leads Rochester 56-26. SummitCitySports.com. Don't go anywhere.
Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Good luck, Tammy.
See you, David.
Things happen. How do you make the unexpected happen? Take the next step with an online degree from Indiana Tech. Start with a visit to one of our 2 new Chicago area enrollment centers in Naperville or Wilmette. You'll discover a wide range of affordable undergraduate and graduate degrees with flexible class schedules designed to fit your lifestyle and help you earn a degree sooner than you'd expect. Embrace the unexpected at Indiana Tech.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior.
4:53, third quarter, 56-26. Indiana Tech on top of Rochester. It's women's basketball in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. Jaron Matheny, SummitCitySports.com. Glad you're with us. Matt Jackson's running our camera here today. Big appreciation towards him for being here for both games. There's a turnover. Martin, it's Foy trying to chase her down. And one. So count the bucket for Martin. Foy's third personal foul. Taylor Covington, Genevieve Decker back into the lineup for Tech. Amari Martin with 11 points leads the scoring for Rochester and hits this free throw. Still a 27-point lead for Indiana Tech. Smith gives up to Worm. Near the baseline, Decker cutting to the inside, gets the find. Smith picks up the assist, rather Worm the assist, 2 more points. One more note on that Madonna and Lourdes game. They played on the women's side last night, knocked out of bounds. Stays with Rochester. But they did not play the men's game last night. So they played the women's game last night. Madonna wins over Lourdes, but that men's game is still scheduled for 3 p.m. today. So on the men's side of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference, all the games are being played in the conference today. On the women's side, just one last night. Smith, catch and shoot, long range. Cannot connect on this one, although she's been really good from beyond the arc today. Martin on the handoff, Mershimer inside. Good filter on the pass for Williams. She's fouled and one. And Kaylin Williams will shoot a free throw to try and bring this to a 58-32 deficit. Foul is actually charged to Decker, her second personal. Team foul number 4 on Indiana Tech. Williams hits the and one free throw. Both men's teams stretching, getting ready. We're a half hour, a little bit more from the start of that game. Set for approximately 3 p.m., depending upon when we end here. About a 25-minute break in between the 2 games. 6 to shoot, skip pass, Covington catch and shoot, 3 ball! You bet! 30-second timeout taken by Indiana Tech. The Warriors on top by 29. We'll take a media timeout here as well. We're back after this. SummitCitySports.com.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes.
61-32, Indiana Tech leading Rochester here in women's basketball in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference from the Schaefer Center, downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jaron Matheny, glad you are with us. It's a busy day for Indiana Tech athletics. Of course, doubleheader here. Women's and men's ice hockey tonight. Or today, I should say. Niagara at Indiana Tech for women's ice hockey's coming up. And then men's ice hockey has Cleary tonight. 61-32. Indiana Tech on top. This battle of the Warriors here today. Loon throwing into Moore. Has the height advantage over Covington and able to lay it in. We saw a 30-second timeout taken by Coach Biggs. Took the media timeout with it. Good pass for Decker, and she's hammered. We'll go to the free throw line for two. Team foul number 4 on Rochester. So both teams now just a foul away from sending the other into the double bonus for the remainder of this third quarter. Decker 2 free throws. Drops in the first. Genevieve Decker is having a really good second half, now up to 14 points. 12 of which have come in the second half. Martin the handoff. Mershimer back out up high. Mari Martin gives off to Moore. Midway through the shot clock. Martin on the drive. Contact with Worm. She was trying to take her third charge to no avail. Offensive rebound, and then Crone missed the lay-in. Another O board. Loose ball. Smith fighting for it and gets that defensive rebound, and then she's fouled by Loon. We'll head down to the other side for a pair of free throws for Corinne Smith. Loon's 4th, 5th team foul of the quarter. Place checks in for Loon. Smith off on the first free throw, but again, 3 in double figures for Indiana Tech today. Foy and Smith were there in the first half. Decker into double figures in this third quarter. Smith goes 1 of 2. Minute 45, third quarter. Martin threw it up, no good. Tapped out of bounds, stays with Rochester. And Rochester in the middle of that fight for the 4, 5, maybe even 6 seed in the postseason tournament. Inbound for Mershimer, and Burris may have fallen asleep. Mershimer knocks down the 3, some pressure in the full court from Rochester. Worm, baseline, dumps in, Decker, and 1. And she hits the deck in the process. Hard foul by Martin. And 1 free throw for Genevieve Decker upcoming. And it'll be Lowry coming in if Decker makes this free throw. Decker cannot hit the free throw. 16 points, though, including 14 in this third quarter. And then a turnover by Rochester on the other end. Foy still leads all scorers with 19. 16 for Decker, 11 for Smith. Indiana Tech, 52% from the floor, 11 of 15 at the line. Rochester, 30% from the field, 10 of 13 at the free throw line. Inside a minute, third quarter. Worm from deep. Not this time. Chance on a 2-for-1 for Rochester here. Deep look off the iron. Place tried to save it. It's Indiana Tech basketball. A second and a half separating shot and game clock here, and this should be enough for Tech to take this clock all the way down, basically, before you get set on this possession. $25 points in the third quarter for Indiana Tech, 19 for Rochester. It's been the highest scoring quarter of this game. Worm, ball's on the floor. Lowry gets it, but that shot was after the horn. Shot clock violation. And we'll see an inbound here, and that'll take us to the fourth quarter. After three, Indiana Tech in control on the home floor. 65-37. Fourth quarter comes your way after the break. SummitCitySports.com.
It's really important for freshmen to realize you get out of college what you put into it. If you dedicate yourself to your classes and to your projects and to what you're doing in college, you're going to have a really great experience here.
I wish someone would have told me my freshman year that it's important to prioritize, knowing what's important, what's not important, knowing what I need to do opposed to what I want to do.
The two things that I think all freshmen should know is buy a parking permit so you don't rack up a bunch of fines and tickets, and also make sure you go to class, because it seems like a good idea when you're skipping, but then it's not worth it in the end when you fail the test or don't turn in homework.
As an international student, my advice for the freshmen is to not be afraid to make friends, because your friends here will end up being your family away from home.
Anything that you want to do, anything that you want to put on, anything that you want to showcase on campus, you can. There's always people around to help you do what you want to do here.
Make sure that you always take time for yourself to make sure that you're okay, because college can be very overwhelming as far as like schoolwork and friends and sports and just like everyday life. Always just make sure that you get what you need to get done.
It's important to have a relationship with your professors, because you become more personable with them. You start to engage in the material more. They can give you recommendations, especially once you get out of college. You definitely want to put them down as like references, and if you have a better personal relationship, it just makes the whole learning experience go smoothly.
Fourth quarter underway. Rochester with the basketball to start the final quarter of this game. It's an entry pass for Moore. And missed the shot there. Starting five back out there for Indiana Tech. Starting five is on the floor with a couple exceptions for Rochester. Place is out there, as well as Crone. It's Indiana Tech with this almost 30-point lead. Turnover out up top. It becomes possession game, certainly, but still trying to work through the process here if you're Indiana Tech in this game, and taking care of the basketball, limiting turnovers, maybe trying to jump a passing lane or two on the other side, but just the little things get you the victory here with the way they've played this game. Place for three, no. Foy rips down the defensive rebound. Covington tried to sling it ahead, and somehow Indiana Tech ends up with the basketball as Place is charged with a reach-in. Warriors will go to 13-2 overall against Rochester, dating back to about 2005. 8-1 here on the home floor. Foy, jump shot, missed it after a nice look by Covington. Martin not taking her foot off the gas. Spins it for Mershimer. High entry to Moore. Well contested, but Moore finishes. Two on one. Burris attacking and gets the lay-in to go. 67-39, 8:15, clock winding in the fourth quarter. Summers back to the scores table for Rochester. Place, deep ball, no. Erica Foy with another rebound. She's collecting rebounds left and right here in this fourth quarter. That puts her one shy of a double-double. Burris for Smith. Foy looking into Decker. Went off her hands initially, and then she got shoved on the shot. 16 points for Genevieve Decker. 8 rebounds. And Decker 6 of 8 at the free throw line with 2 more coming. Summers and Loon back in, and now the starting 5 is fully on the floor for Rochester. 7:45, fourth quarter. Decker hits the first. Burris is at 9 points now, just one shy of becoming the fourth to hit double figures. Decker 2 for 2, now 8 of 10 at the line here today. Back to a 30-point lead for Indiana Tech. Moore, keep feeding her in the post, missed it, and there's rebound number 10 and a double-double for Erica Foy. Spin for Decker, goes into the paint, kicks out, Covington. Stops, Martin tried to jar it free, gets the jump ball. Possession arrow stays with Indiana Tech. Bethany Worm back on the floor. Decker probably done for the day now. Shot clock at 5. Covington blocked by Summers. Mershimer kicks it out. Loon, extra touch. Summers 3, not this time. Loose ball and a foul on Indiana Tech on the putback. That's the first on Burris. Also the first team foul of the quarter as Mershimer's free throw is off. Celeste Mershimer out of Amanda, Ohio. 77% charity stripe this year. She's had 11 games in double figures. Hasn't been easy to come by here today as Mershimer goes 1 of 2. Lowry in for Covington. We'll start to see that bench empty for Indiana Tech. Foy back out for Lowry. Continue to work it around the arc to the near side. Smith off the find from Worm. There's another 3 for Corinne Smith. Her 4th of the day, 14 points in total. and the 32-point Indiana Tech lead. Corinne Smith coming off a career high, or a season high, excuse me, 17 points. More short and over the back on Rochester. If you can start to get that long-range game from Corinne Smith to become really a consistent part of this offense, if you can get 9 to 12 from Corinne and count on that every time she hits the floor, Indiana Tech is so much tougher to beat. As Mershimer bumps into Burris. And that's team foul number 4 on Rochester, 6:03 fourth quarter. You get 9 to 12 from Smith. You know you're going to get about 10, maybe 14 from Burris. Foy's good for 15 to 20, and the offense starts to find its pieces for Indiana Tech. Foy fouled here, and that puts Tech into the bonus with 5:49 to go.
Rochester Kamala, 15, Ashley Bloom. Urquhart.
Foul on Loon is her 5th. And Crone in for Rochester. Lauren Barton getting ready to check in for Indiana Tech. Foy's first free throw good. You would expect this will be Erica Foy's final shot attempts. 20 points in total. Make it 21. 21 points, 11 rebounds for Erica Foy as she exits. Lauren Barton now on for Indiana Tech for the final 5:49. We presume we'll start to see Javens, McFarland, Keys. See who else is down there, although Covington is going to check in now. Summers called for the travel. And Covington on for Juliana Burris.
Taylor Covington returns to the Indiana Tech lineup.
Full court pressure from Rochester. Tech patiently gets it across the line. Covington on the handoff for Barton, loose ball. Nearing the midway point of the fourth quarter. Covington, deep range, not this time. And Javens to the scorer's table. On the final 5-minute stretch. Summer's shot is off. Moore put back, no. Long range doesn't go. Ball on the floor, and Lowry able to come away with it. Well, Rochester going to fall to 500 overall and in the conference with this loss. The good thing for Rochester is they're a lot better than a lot of the teams in the bottom 5 of this conference. The problem for Rochester is the top 3 in this conference are starting to pull away by a wide margin. Worm, 3-ball, no. And when you look at the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference as a whole, Concordia still unbeaten. Siena Heights just 1 loss. And Indiana Tech going to stay unbeaten with a win here today in the conference standings. It could be a runaway party at the top. Inside, now down to 3:45 in the fourth. Smith, little hook shot. Corinne Smith, 16 points. Coming off a season high 17 at Dearborn. Offense for her is picking up in a big way. Mershimer, note. Barton the board. Worm off the handoff. And there's 2 more for Bethany Worm. She's now got 5. And This lead continues to increase in the waning minutes. Nice shot by Summers that time. On a timeout. Rolling subs timeout here for Indiana Tech, but we got to take one final media timeout. 2:54, fourth quarter. Indiana Tech on top, 78-40 in front of Rochester.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
Ready for the final 2 minutes and 52 seconds of this fourth quarter. 78-40, Indiana Tech in front of Rochester. Indiana Tech Warriors are back at home on Wednesday night, 6 p.m. tip-off against Northwestern Ohio. Then it's at Concordia next Saturday, January 13th. And on the road at Lourdes on January 17th. Believe Tech's actually gone the 20th on the road as well. So a nice stretch of road games coming up. Keys, left-handed floater, rolls off. And McFarland couldn't grab that loose ball. Bakar with a skip pass left. Barton partially deflected it on the way over. Barton, far side of the floor, inching towards 2 minutes to go. Javens out up high, McFarland three, and that's off to the right and out of bounds. Rochester basketball. Again, will be right about 3 o'clock for the tip-off of the men's basketball game. Be here on our YouTube channel. There'll be a different link to go to, but if you go to our channel and click on the live, you can see it's listed in the upcoming section already. We'll jump live there after this one closes out. Left-handed lay-in falls for Dakota Crone. And then just a reach-in foul from Albus, which puts Javens at the free throw line with 1:36 to go. Indiana Tech will go to 11-3 overall, 8-0 in the conference. Be the second consecutive victory for Indiana Tech. And they'll increase that points per game, points allowed differential. A little bit more than 7 points a contest for Indiana Tech. Ball on the floor, McFarland picks it up. Javens and Barton numbers ahead. Back to Barton. Lay-in doesn't go. Down to 1:15. Javens knocks it out of bounds to stop the transition. Place, Bakar, Albus, as well as Williams and Crone are the 5 out there currently for Rochester. Deep look from Place, not on this attempt. Now 1-4 on the road this year for Rochester as Keys travels. 5-1 here at home for Indiana Tech. Rochester at Cornerstone Wednesday, back home next Saturday against Lords. Bakar, little runner, a good teardrop over the top, good for 2. 45 seconds to go. Probably be the final look offensively for the Warriors of Indiana Tech. Inside, Javins just missed that lay-in. Shot clock is off. Albus, long range, no. McFarland rebound. And Keys, once she gets past midcourt, be able to dribble out the rest of this clock. It's a final. Indiana Tech improves to 11-3 on the year, 8-0 in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference with a 79-54 win over Rochester. 79-54, the final score. Tech now 11-3 overall, 8-0 in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference as Erica Foy posts a double-double, 21 points and 11 rebounds in the win. We'll take a brief pause as we wrap things up here from the Schaefer Center today. A nice win for Indiana Tech, and we get set for game number 2 on the men's side after this. For SummitCitySports.com and Matt, I'm Jaron. I'll talk to you here in a few minutes for Tech men's basketball against Rochester. The Indiana Tech Warriors women's basketball team improving to 11-3 on the year as Tech has 3 scores in double figures to get the win. Back home on Wednesday, 6 p.m. against Northwestern Ohio here on the home floor. We will see you on the other side for men's hoops. SummitCitySports.com. I'm Jaron Matheny.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior.